My name is Neil Shah from Sammamish, Washington. In my research, I learned that HB 1296, which details students' rights in the public school system, would also allow the state superintendent to withhold funding for schools deemed non-compliant. How does the legislator balance this potential funding restriction with the reality that our schools are already severely underfunded and already limiting student access to a range of academic opportunities?
Great question. I think the bigger question is, how do we not make sure that every student and every parent has the right to a safe and inclusive education? Our focus in the state is to make sure that not one group of parents or one group of students is represented in our school, but that every student, our mandate is to provide a free and appropriate education for every student. And we need to make sure we're doing that. And we have to have some way to hold schools accountable should they choose not to do that. And so we want to make sure that schools are funded, that are making sure that every student that walks in that building feels accepted, is not scared, is not harassed, that every parent's voice, regardless of what religious background they come from, regardless of what moral or values they have, regardless of what their student is experiencing, feels like they have a voice in that school setting, and that we respond to that. Public education is free for everybody, and that means we do not let the loudest or the wealthiest dictate what happens in a school building. It means we need to make sure as state legislators that everybody is accounted for and that everybody gets that free and appropriate education. And that has to be foremost. And so if a school district decides that we are only going to cater to a section of parents or kids, and that nobody's voice counts and people are being harassed and harassment is happening, etc., we have to have a way to hold that school accountable for making sure that that stops, because that student deserves it. And we as state legislators, we don't get to pick which voices we hear. We don't get to pick which child should have the rights and which parent should have rights. We have to make sure that everyone is included. And so that is our challenge. Other groups may have more flexibility. We don't have that flexibility. Our mandate is to make sure that every student is safe and has every learning and opportunity and has fairness and access to every opportunity possible. And that's what we're going to strive for. And that is the mandate to provide that basic education and success for all students across the state of Washington. And that's what every school district needs to do.
Well, I believe, Neil, that would be a tragedy if he did withhold funds from students. That's just very, from schools, that's just very petty. It's almost kind of like in retaliation. And that's the one bill, 1296. Don't really understand a lot of things that come from the other side, but that's one I don't understand at all. And in this, it mostly got into not so much the funding. It got into taking parental rights away from parents, and I think, a parent has responsibilities to his children, not only for their safety and well-being, but, and also their physical well-being, making sure they are well-fed and they have recreational driving to soccer games. But that flies in the face of thousands of years of tradition where the parents call the shots. They're sending their kids to school. They're paying their taxes to go to school. So a parent has a right not only over the child, unless he proves otherwise, but, especially if a child wants a sex change, and it really didn't specify quite the age that they could do that, that's very wrong not to allow a parent to intervene, because we have a right, parents have a right not only to take care of their children's well-being, but also their souls too. And a lot of my constituents in Spokane Valley just thought that whole idea was horrendous, but it passed along party lines. So I think we need to seek to understand each other. But some things are just so quizzical, you'll wonder what's going through their minds. Do they have any sense of history or imagination?